The apartment was quiet in a way that felt unfamiliar. Not peaceful, just empty. Alex Grant sat on the couch, shoulders slumped, exhaustion etched deep into his face. Another overnight shift. Another night spent driving strangers instead of sleeping beside his son's bed. He closed his eyes for a moment. Then he heard it. Water running. Alex's eyes snapped open. The sound wasn't supposed to be there. His heart began to race as he slowly turned his head toward the kitchen. Every muscle in his body tightened, instincts firing all at once. And then he saw her. A woman stood by the counter, calmly pouring herself a cup of coffee. Her hair was pulled back neatly. She was wearing a shirt. Alex froze. For a brief second, his mind refused to process what his eyes were seeing. Fear, confusion, and disbelief collided inside his chest. She moved like she belonged there, like this wasn't a mistake. Alex stood up slowly, careful not to startle her. His voice came out rough. "Who are you?" She glanced at him, unfazed. "I heard the water running," he added, trying to ground himself in reality. She met his eyes, calm, controlled, and in that moment, Alex realized this morning was about to change everything. Alex swallowed hard, his mind racing faster than his heart. "Did I touch you?" he asked quietly. The question surprised even him. He wasn't asking out of guilt. He was asking out of fear. Fear of being misunderstood, fear of crossing a line he had spent his life refusing to cross. The woman didn't react the way he expected. She didn't shout. She didn't accuse. She simply took a slow sip of her coffee. "No," she said calmly. "Of course not." Her voice was steady, almost reassuring. Alex let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. She turned toward him fully now, studying his face as if she were reading something invisible. A faint, strange smile crossed her lips. "Good," she said, "because now I owe you more than I can ever repay." Alex frowned. He didn't understand what she meant. Nothing about this made sense. "I don't need anything," he said defensively. "I was just trying to help." She nodded, as if that was exactly the answer she expected. And for the first time since waking up, Alex felt something unfamiliar. Not fear, anticipation. She gestured subtly toward the table. Alex followed her gaze. That's when he saw them. Keys. Not ordinary keys. Metallic. Heavy. Engraved with a logo he recognized instantly. Helios Innovations. His stomach dropped. Alex's eyes shifted to the laptop sitting beside the keys. The screen was open. A video call. Dozens of faces stared back at him. Men and women in suits. Silent. Watching. Alex felt the blood drain from his face. "What is this?" he whispered. The woman picked up the laptop and turned it toward herself. "Good morning," she said calmly. "To the board of directors." The room felt suddenly smaller. "This man," she continued, pointing at Alex, "is Alex Grant, 37 years old, single father, professional driver." Alex's knees weakened. He wasn't being accused. He was being introduced. And in that moment, Alex realized this wasn't an accident. It was a test. Alex stood frozen, his eyes shifting between the woman and the faces on the screen. Every instinct told him to leave, to step back, but his legs refused to move. The woman closed the laptop gently and placed it on the table. "My name is Olivia Carter," she said, "CEO of Helios Innovations." The words hit Alex like a wave. So, the most powerful woman in the company he drove for was standing in his kitchen, wearing his shirt, drinking his coffee. "I was testing my drivers," Olivia continued calmly. "Not their skills behind the wheel, but their character." Alex clenched his fists. "You broke into my house?" he asked, anger finally breaking through his shock. Olivia shook her head. "No, you left the door unlocked." She paused. "And you still respected me." The room went quiet. "You could have taken advantage," she said. "You could have lied. You could have panicked." She stepped closer. "But instead, you asked one question, the only question that mattered." Alex looked down, shame and pride battling inside him. "I have a son," he said softly. "I don't want him growing up thinking men can cross lines." Olivia's expression changed. For the first time, it wasn't controlled. It was moved. Olivia walked toward the window, looking out at the quiet city. "Do you know," she said slowly, How rare it is to find a man who chooses morality when no one is watching. Alex stayed silent. I've seen executives destroy families for ambition, she continued. I've seen power erase conscience. She turned back to him. And then there's you driving strangers all night, sleeping 3 hours, just to make sure your son has food and safety. Alex felt his throat tighten. He deserves better, he said, than a tired father. Olivia shook her head. No, she replied firmly. He deserves exactly you. She reached into her bag and placed a folder on the table. Inside were documents, contracts, benefits, a position. Effective immediately, Olivia said. You are no longer a driver. Alex stared. You're going to be head of internal security training, she continued. You'll teach ethics, responsibility, boundaries. Alex's voice trembled. Why me? Olivia smiled softly. Because you passed the test no one knew they were taking. Alex's phone buzzed. He hesitated before answering. Dad, a small voice echoed through the room. His son. Alex closed his eyes. I'm here, buddy, he said gently. Olivia watched quietly as Alex listened. I had a bad dream, the boy said. Are you coming home today? Alex looked at Olivia, this stranger who had just rewritten his future. Yes, he said. I'm coming home early. He ended the call and turned to her. I don't know how to thank you. Olivia picked up her keys. By staying the man you already are, she replied. She walked toward the door, then paused. One more thing, Alex. He looked up. Your son will never have to wonder what kind of man his father is. The door closed softly behind her. Alex stood alone, but for the first time in years, he wasn't afraid of tomorrow. The boardroom was silent. 12 faces stared at Alex through the screen. Men and women who controlled millions, careers, and reputations. Not one of them spoke. Olivia stood at the head of the table. You've all reviewed the footage, she said calmly. The test was unplanned. The result was undeniable. A man in a gray suit leaned forward. He's just a driver, he said. No formal degree. No corporate background. Olivia turned toward the screen. Exactly, she replied. And yet he showed more discipline than executives making 7 figures. Alex felt sweat on his palms. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He was just trying to survive. Another board member spoke softly. What would you have done if he failed? Olivia didn't hesitate. I would have fired him quietly, she said, and continued searching. The room shifted. But he didn't fail, she continued. He protected a boundary when no rulebook existed. She looked directly into the camera. This company talks about values, she said. Today, we finally found someone who lives them. The screen went dark. A message appeared. Unanimous decision. Approved. Alex exhaled slowly. For the first time in his life, power had chosen integrity. That evening, Alex picked his son up from school earlier than usual. The boy noticed immediately. You're smiling, he said from the back seat. Alex laughed softly. Am I? They drove in comfortable silence. At a red light, the boy spoke again. Dad, are you a good man? The question hit harder than any boardroom decision. Alex pulled the car over. He turned around in his seat. I try to be, he said honestly. Every day. The boy nodded. My teacher says being good is harder when no one's looking. Alex swallowed. That's when it matters most, he replied. They reached home. Alex cooked dinner. Simple, warm, familiar. As they ate, his phone buzzed. A message from Olivia. Tomorrow. New office. New life. Alex looked at his son. Guess what? He smiled. I won't be driving nights anymore. The boy's eyes lit up. Does that mean more time with me? Alex nodded. Always. That night, as his son slept, Alex stood in the doorway and realized something. Success didn't walk into his house wearing a suit. It came quietly, through one honest choice. Next morning, Alex stood outside Helios Innovations. Same building, different life. He adjusted his jacket nervously. Inside, employees turned their heads as he walked past. Not with judgment, with curiosity. Olivia met him at the entrance. No test today, she said with a slight smile. She handed him a badge. Alex Grant, Ethics and Security Lead. Alex took a deep breath. I won't let you down, he said. Olivia shook her head. You already proved you won't. They walked through the corridors. Glass walls, bright offices, Endless opportunity. Alex paused near a window. Below, the city moved fast, cars, people, ambition. But for the first time, he wasn't chasing it. He belonged. As he entered his new office, he placed a small photo on the desk. Him and his son. A reminder, not of where he came from, but of why he would never cross a line. Because real success isn't what you gain. It's what you refuse to lose. The news spread faster than Alex expected. By midday, whispers followed him through the halls of Helios Innovations. Is that the driver? He jumped 3 levels overnight. CEO's favorite? Alex kept his head down. He wasn't there to prove anyone wrong. He was there to stay true. In a conference room, he stood before a group of managers, people who had trained for years, memorized policies, chased promotions. Alex didn't open a slide deck. He told a story. One night, he began, I was tested without knowing it. The room quieted. There were no cameras I could see, no rules written down. He looked around, but I had one voice in my head, my son's. Some shifted uncomfortably. When you think no one is watching, Alex continued, that's when you discover who you are. Silence followed. Not awkward. Respectful. After the meeting, a senior manager approached him. You made me uncomfortable, the man said. Alex nodded. That means it worked. Not everyone welcomed change. An anonymous article appeared online. Helios promotes favoritism over qualifications. Comments flooded in. Unfair. Unprofessional. A publicity stunt. Alex read them late at night. Doubt crept in. Maybe they were right. Maybe he didn't belong. The next morning, Olivia called him into her office. You read the article, she said. Alex nodded. I don't want this to hurt the company, he said. Olivia leaned back calmly. Truth always hurts before it heals. She pulled up data on her screen. Ethics complaints down. Employee trust up. Retention rising. People don't hate what you represent, she said. They hate that it exposes them. Alex straightened. I won't quit, he said quietly. Olivia smiled. I was hoping you'd say that. Outside the office, Alex passed his reflection in glass. Same man. Stronger spine. Weeks passed. Alex's training sessions became mandatory. Not because Olivia demanded it, because employees requested it. One evening, Alex arrived home early again. His son was waiting with a drawing. It showed 2 figures. One tall, one small, both standing in front of a bright building. What's this? Alex asked. That's you, the boy said proudly. And that's me when I grow up. Alex's chest tightened. Later that night, Alex received one last message from Olivia. This was never about promotion. It was about proof. Alex turned off his phone. He sat beside his son's bed, watching him sleep. A realization settled deep in his heart. Leadership wasn't a title. It was a responsibility passed forward. And somewhere in the quiet of that room, a legacy had already begun. The auditorium was full. Executives, employees, new hires. Alex stood on stage under soft white lights, his hands resting calmly at his sides. This wasn't a speech he had rehearsed. It was a truth he had lived. I want to ask you something, Alex said, his voice steady. When was the last time you did the right thing when it cost you something? The room fell silent. No cameras, no rewards, no applause. Faces shifted. Alex continued. That night, I didn't know I was being tested. I wasn't thinking about promotion. I was thinking about the kind of father my son believes I am. He paused. Character isn't built when life is easy. It's revealed when temptation shows up quietly. He stepped back. I didn't pass a corporate test, he said. I passed a human one. For a moment, no one clapped. Then one person stood, then another, until the entire room rose. Not for power, for principle. Later that evening, Olivia stood alone in her office. The city lights reflected off the glass behind her. Alex knocked gently. You wanted to see me? She nodded. I never told the board everything, she admitted. Alex waited. That night, I wasn't just testing drivers, Olivia said softly. I was testing myself. She turned to face him. I wanted to know if power still had limits. If decency still existed in places no policy could reach. She exhaled slowly. You reminded me why this company was built. Alex smiled faintly. You reminded me too, he said. that doing the right thing doesn't always look heroic. Olivia extended her hand. Thank you, she said. Not as your CEO, as a human being. Alex shook it. For the first time, they stood equal. The next morning, sunlight filled the apartment. No rusing, no fear, no exhaustion. Alex sat at the table across from his son, flipping pancakes. Dad, the boy said, are you famous now? Alex laughed. No, he replied. I'm home. They walked to school together, hand in hand. At the gate, his son turned back. I'm proud of you, the boy said. Alex knelt down, eyes full. That's the only promotion I ever wanted. As he watched his son run inside, Alex understood something simple and powerful. Life doesn't change in boardrooms. It changes in quiet kitchens, in honest moments, in choices no one sees. And sometimes, the greatest success story is just becoming the person your child already believes you are.